Okay, we're here with Michael Reynolds, who we know real well from Atlanta. And so we're going to take a look at some of your work, Michael. Now tell us, how long have you been designing in miniature?
I have been designing in miniature again for 5 years. I originally was in the field 25 years ago and left it to pursue a theater career as a costume designer. So now I've come full circle and I'm back. So now I get to translate 20 years of theater knowledge into little tiny.
And your work is very exciting because you have so many different kinds of pieces and yet they kind of all go together and they're, I don't know, how would you describe your designs?
I'm a little ADD. So most of my work, I'm known most for the exotic burl woods that I use, and most of the veneers that I use are 100 years old, so that my furniture has a patina and aged look to it. And when I can't do any more furniture, and I'm a little crazy, then I'll paint, and then when I finish painting, and I really go crazy, I take little pigs and I make wagons for pigs, or whatever flavor hits me. So
Very
yeah, a little
good.
bit of everything.
Very good.
A little bit of everything.
And it is, you've got accessories, we have chairs, which are my favorite. I love the chairs. All your chairs really are astounding in different shapes, and it seems different. It does. It seems like different styles. It's
Different,
not
many different periods. And
periods. That's where I was
most
going.
of what I do, even though I will execute the same table 5 times, I'll do different woods on them. So technically, every piece that I have is really one of a kind.
And the detail on the pieces, can we pick one of these
Yeah.
up? I'm always so scared to touch everything. But the details on these tables, I mean, tell us about how that happened.
This was inspired by Belter, who was one of the first mass-produced designers during the Victorian era, and he was most influenced by the Louis XVI and the Baroque movement in the early to mid 18th century. And what he did was the woods that he used primarily rosewood was what he was most favored for. And he would basically create what you would have seen in the 18th century in the late 19th century, but rather than gilding and gold leafing, he did it in hardwoods and then finished the woods. And he was a very popular designer during the Victorian era. And often people who collect the Victorian era is a very popular era in miniature, and I've never executed it before, so this is my attempt at what they do.
Very gorgeous. So do you have a certain piece that you're kind of emotionally connected to? How do you birth each one of these? Is kind of an emotional?
I have boxes and boxes of stuff at home, and I lay stuff out all over my house, and I walk by it for a week, and at 3 o'clock in the morning I wake up from a deep sleep and think, that's what I need to do. I think probably my favorite thing is my little piggy that pulls the ostrich. He's my new
pretty special.
Little favorite whimsy.
He's
and I like
special.
whimsical, and I also like the very traditional, more classic line pieces. And then the paintings that I do, I usually paint once a year because I'm not a formally trained artist. But
you are not formally trained, and that's how you're.
But
oh my
I came
goodness.
up with a technique to reproduce probably what would be considered second-tier artwork. I collect a lot of Christie's auction catalogs that give dimensions of paintings.
Okay.
And here again, with my ADD, it was a challenge to see if, in fact, something could be painted on a canvas. So, and they're mixed medium, and every possible era. I don't particularly have something that I'm particularly fond of, but I'll get wild and want to do flowers, so I'll do 3 or 4 still lifes of flowers, and then I want to do tiny people, and I'll paint tiny people, and so yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
Well, you are definitely one of our favorites, Michael, and we love seeing you.
Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for speaking with me.
us,
Yeah.
and we'll see you all over Smallisimo.